And we would like to give thanks to Save the Children for the images as well as the true case studies that they have provided that really adds validity to supporting an understanding of what those children and families are going through on their journey. We all know that the quality of provision provides opportunities to children and their families, and it's really hard for them with the trauma that they're going through, is to understand what they're going through. So this tool, I'm hoping, will give you an insight into those stories using those true case studies, and I'm hoping that we can then support those children coming into your setting, guide you and develop an understanding and ways to signpost and support them. So on that note, I would like now to pass over to my colleague Stacey Mann, who will offer more exciting news on another one of our resources available on our toolkit. Thank you. Over to you, Stacey.
Hi everyone. Just a reminder, really, thank you for that, Angie. It was wonderful. Just a reminder that you can use the chat box for any comments and questions when we're going through any of the lovely things that are going on today. So I'm here today to talk to you about our new Sustainability Matters in Early Childhood resource. So this is a resource that will support and empower the early years sector to learn more about our responsibilities to each other and to the world in which we live. And it has got teaching prompts in there, activities and case studies that really bring sustainability to life. So I am going to attempt to share my screen with you and show you the where you can find this and where you can find some of the accompanying articles and resources that go with it. So on our NCFE website, we have a sector specialisms tab, which will take you to the early years and childcare sector specialism. And within there, we have our CPD carousel. So straight away, it will take you to our lovely careers toolkit. And within CPD carousel, you can just click on to explore our resources. What you will find in here is an absolute wealth of different articles, different podcasts and videos to support you on your journey in the education and childcare sector. And we have a whole tile on sustainability over here. Within sustainability, you have lots of different videos and things that you can click on, and this is our new resource. So if you just click on download the resource, it is free, and you will see Sustainability Matters in Early Childhood. And there are lots of different activities. So I will show you some of the case studies within here. So for example, this one is all about plants that feed us. So it takes you through a lovely case study of a setting that have been making their own soup, their own vegetable soup. And we've also got areas in here that link to the characteristics of effective teaching and learning. There are YouTube clips and there are lovely books that you can refer to as well, and lots of ideas about how to really embed sustainability into your setting, and lots of little anecdotes from different people in practice that are using all of these wonderful activities in their settings. So I will put the link for you in the chat box, and you can have a little bit of an explore of the Education and Childcare Careers Toolkit and all of the CPD that goes with it. I am now going to pass you to our wonderful subject specialist in craft and design, Emma Harrington. Emma, are you there? There she is.
I am. Hello. Thank you for sharing that, Stacey. It's fantastic. Well done, everybody. Right. So I am going to introduce a little spotlight on creativity. So bear with me a second whilst I share my slides. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Can we see those?
Yes, we can see that.
Yeah. Try and go a bit bigger. Oops. Oh, this is a new facility, isn't it? On
It's fine, Emma. It's a good
it's
size.
fine. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's Diddy for me on my view.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, well, as long as you can see. So, sparking your creative thinking. So, for the students out there who are working with younger children and wanting to promote creative practice, but also thinking about positivity and acts of kindness and merging the two together, I thought I would show you in a whistle stop, a 15 minutes, a creative activity which actually promotes both. So creativity and positivity that you could work with your children in your setting with. So, because I can't see you all, obviously it's not like talking to a brick wall, but if with your groups and you're with your groups today and you'd like to work through these activities, then absolutely please do, and it'd be fantastic to share some of your creativity afterwards with us following the conference. That would be really fantastic. If you would like to just listen and take notes, of course you're welcome to do so as well. So, in terms of taking that creative approach as a student, you may have used one of these, what we call fortune tellers. Now, that I say we, I'm of a certain age, but there are other names that you may be familiar with them being called. So, I did a little bit of research as well, and fortune teller is top 10 in the UK. Coochie catcher, I think I've said that right. It tends to be another name for it, often American, and a chatterbox, which is actually quite nice because it sort of emulates movement as well. So this is an olden days little game, and there's a little bit of history there. It's a form of origami for a start, so we're already going into creativity. One could say paper engineering. However, it starts off as origami. As in case you don't know, so let me just start from the raw basics. Parts of this fortune teller are actually labeled with colors or numbers or letters, and they serve as options for the player to actually choose from, depending on what your aim or your purpose of your fortune teller actually is. So the person who actually operates this uses the device depending on the choices of the player. And then finally the big reveal is you unpeel it like that and you go, oh right, yeah, what does my future hold? So I thought, with a little bit of Karina's help there, that we could do a fortune teller that you could use with your children to actually teach them positivity and acts of kindness there. So, in terms of making your own one of these, it is really, really simple. And actually, these, as Peter might say, here's one I made earlier. I literally followed the diagram, the flat diagram here. That's taken from Wikipedia. So you can Google, you can print off the instructions, or this presentation will be added to the deck a little bit later. And if you wish, you're more than welcome to make one as I'm talking. You can get printable ones as well, which are some of those are really cool and creative. So you get some ideas there. And just going to show you a super quick video. It's got the sound off, but let's put that on because it was.
While we're waiting, maybe we can all just have a little go. I see Stacey's got a paper there. I've got my paper at the ready, so we could all just have a little go while Emma's sorting out the video. These were very popular when I worked in schools. Doesn't matter whether the children were in Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2, or even I've done it with students. They absolutely love them, and you can have them fit for purpose. So really utilise them.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you for that. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. It was very loud in my ears then. Just a quick.
Emma, we didn't hear it, unfortunately.
Oh no! Oh, lucky you.
But never
actually.
mind.
Follow the link.
Yeah.
Anyway, that just shows you how quick it is to actually make. Janet actually looks like she's making one, so I'll be super impressed if you are, Janet.
I think doing one's best.
Top tip is, I always remember this as a kid, when you do your folds, you have actually got to be really careful and precise with your folds. Otherwise, you'll find that these little sections won't open so well as you maneuver it. That's my top tip.
Yes.
So once you have made your fortune teller, this is the bit that I want you to think about, the creativity. How are you going to get creative? So you already have started that journey by making, for a start. So you may be shouting out to your teacher how you could be creative right now. For me, the first obvious one is use of colour, and thinking about colours which are symbolic of positivity. So put some examples there. Yellow being a favourite on this nice and sunny day. Yellow is joyful, it's full of energy, it's really, really positive. So traditional fortune tellers have each got a different colour on each section, for example. So that's, one little example. Another way of injecting creativity into the decoration of your fortune teller is actually how you illustrate this. You could use your felt tips that you've brought with you today. Oh, well done, Karina. I can see you meddling there. Doodaloo. Well done. You could decorate that with your felt tips. You could use images or emojis that actually link to positivity. Could use different coloured papers to actually create the object in the first place. One that I quite like the idea of is actually using photos of people or animals or objects actually on each section that relate to your activities inside, or as Angie will relate here, using stickers, transfers or collage magazine cuttings on the outside. I found these which were really cute. My daughters, don't tell her, but I just nabbed those this morning. These little transfers that you scratch on. So you probably can't see too well on here, but I've scratched a lovely yellow bird on and a flower and fish and, decorated that, had a bit of fun. So really, this is your opportunity to to use your imagination, be decorative, use scale, color, shape, pattern, text, play around with how you write your messages. So that's the next slide really, is your creative thinking. So you've done your decorating. We now want you to think about, okay, what acts of kindness can you think of? There's clue behind me, which actually I thought I put some up here, but are they mirrored the wrong way round? Or can you actually read them?
Difficult to see them.
Difficult to see. Okay, well, I should have just drawn pictures. Smiling. So if you're thinking about acts of kindness right now, positive affirmations, acts of kindness, what positivity, what messages could you be delivering or doing for others to make them happy? So I put down some ideas here. So in each section of your fortune teller, when you get there, you could write a lovely, gorgeous message, which is actually an action for the child to do. So making a card for someone to thank them, tidying up without being asked as a little surprise at home would be lovely. Give someone a hug, clean out your bedroom, donating old toys, books to charity, just smiling and saying hello to people. See if you can actually notice what reactions you get back if you start smiling and being really, really nice. Going the extra mile than you would normally. This one's quite a nice one. Let someone go in front of you in the lunch queue. Who does that? So that's a nice one to try. I know we're all desperate to get the sandwich. Work with someone new. Lots of ideas there. And I guess you guys would come up with your own as a class activity as well. What I thought I would share with you, beyond the creativity aspect of making and thinking and decorating, there are some quite fundamental skills also involved in this process as well, which is good for teachers to be sharing with their students. You know, the actual folding process, the making, its fine motor, its accuracy skills, following step by step, so sequential activity. Positive mindset. So it's promoting us getting into the right space there, and thinking and decorating, obviously, as part of that creative activity. But just quite interesting to see how it does link with other learning aspects as well. For me, as always, ideas grow octopus legs, and it's thinking about how this little creative activity could grow legs and how you could extend that within the classroom, and the children take these activities home. So some examples, again, you're bound to come up with your own, but if the fortune teller actually had a little task in there, then they could the child could actually go and undertake the task there and then, or certainly go and plan it. So for example, the message here could lead to a treasure hunt around the classroom, a kindness treasure hunt around the classroom. And then the treasure is actually for the child to go and undertake their activity and be able to pass on that act of kindness. And always a favourite of mine is to create a little bag of love, a little bag of kindness. So the child could actually do that at home and bring it back in perhaps for another day, or there's a little kindness corner and they're writing little messages of gratitude at the end of the day within that space. So loads and loads of ideas there. And a good source of inspiration that you'll know is looking on Pinterest as well. So that's absolutely chocker full of nice ideas there. And to end with, as you'll see in the presentation, some links to some resources there, but this is you know, very commonly accessible. So if anyone's got any questions, do feel free to pop them in the chat. And
We'll
we
make one.
did you all make one? Yeah. Oh, I like the pink. From a post-it note, little mini one. That's lovely. Very, very creative. Excellent.
I didn't decorate mine yet. I shall think about what I'm going to put in there.
Excellent. Good stuff. So it's a simple activity. So you can make this as big or as simple as you like, and actually scale, as Angie's just demonstrated, does matter, because the little ones can be really, really cute and children can carry them around with them. So if you would like to send us some photos of your final fortune tellers, then please do so, and we can incorporate those as well into this resource. Good luck,
Thanks.
everybody.
Thanks so much, Emma. It's really nice, a lovely activity that, you know, can be really useful as well. So thank you for your time this afternoon.
You're very welcome. Enjoy. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, no worries. Right, I'm just waiting for my PowerPoint to regenerate onto the screen, and then we will be moving forward.
I can see it, Karina. Oh, you're there.
Lovely, thank you. So I'd like to welcome this afternoon Kyla and Jill from Watermead Day Nursery. Kyla joined Watermead straight from college after completing a level 3 diploma in childcare. She's gained experience working with babies and after a year moved into working with 2 and 3-year-olds. The following year, she started work as a room leader in the preschool. In 2017, she was promoted to the position of deputy manager, and 2 years later, Kyla was appointed as nursery manager and now manages a team of 50 staff. And Jill, nice to meet you, Jill. Jill first worked for Watermead in 2008, when along with the nursery owner, she helped project manage the setting up, which opened in 2009. She then rejoined in April 2017 as a management consultant, having worked at Loughborough College for over 17 years. She managed early years, health and social care, public services, teacher education, Radmore Nursery, before and after school club and holiday club before working in FE and HE. Jill worked as a private nanny, as a teaching assistant in a primary school, as a nursery nurse in a family centre, and for social services, specialising in child protection. So the experience there is vast, which is really lovely. And we look forward to seeing and hearing from you now. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Just as a bit of, we're in the office, so if you hear any loud noises, please don't be alarmed. It'll be the buzzer of the doorbell, I think, is going off. Just wanted to let you know, there's no fire alarms or anything. Yeah, we are just about to try and share the screen. Can everybody see that okay?
Yes, great stuff.
Yeah, yeah. We've been asked today to come and speak about providing an enabling environment. So obviously we're going to be talking about the experience that we have here at Watermead Day Nursery. But our inspiration, our influences are inspired by Reggio Emilia philosophy. But we also take influence from Steiner, from Montessori, to Ariki, the curiosity approach, and built into that are our genius staff. So we sprinkle our own flavours into our curriculum, the pedagogy that we follow, through our genius educators, our practitioners. And with an aim of promoting awe and wonder, inspiring our children to see beauty in the random and unusual, and ignite creativity. And it's really important to ignite that creativity in both the educators and our children, because our educators are amazing role models for our children.
In each of our rooms, we have interests of our children, so we make sure that our practitioners are observing the children while they're here with us at the setting to find out what their interests are, so that we can set the setting up around their interests and take the child's lead on those. So in each room we have a big perspex board, which is our planning board for in the moment planning. So when our children come in, if there's something new that we find that they are interested in, that they've seen on the outside, when they've seen out with their parents, or here at the nursery, something new or unusual, we take that and we run with it to make the environment very inviting and an exciting place for the children to be.
I think, as well as, sort of like what most nurseries offer in terms of, sort of like various activities, experiences, opportunities, following the early years foundation stage, as we do, in order to kind of enhance the experience our children get in the environments that we provide, both indoors and outdoors, alongside that home from home environment that we aim to create, we actually speak to staff when they join us, not just about their experience of working within the sector or in related sectors, but we are also interested in their particular talents. And it's amazing what people, you know, sort of like actually initially don't share with you. And I would encourage all the students that are listening today, not just to talk about their work experience, their workplace, etc., but also perhaps other little talents or interests that they particularly have. And because we've spoken to our staff about what they do outside of work, if they have any particular hobbies or interests, we offer all kinds of sports and physical activities supported by our resident sports coaches who are early years educators. But one of our staff, he is a qualified football coach. And so we got chatting to him and, you know, and said, oh, right, okay then. So you enjoy football? And oh, yes, he said all sorts of sports. Right. Oh, would you like to bring that to the nursery? Would you like to do that? So now, you know, sort of like we offer a sports academy. We have an amazing on-site and off-site award-winning forest school team. So again, we've enhanced our staff with additional forest school qualifications, opportunities, experiences, and it's something that parents choose to come to our nursery for because we're a very outdoorsy type of nursery. And our forest school team of staff are absolutely amazing. They love what they do. And I think that also enriches the environment, because if staff love what they do, they're really good at what they do. And if they're enthusiastic about an activity, an experience, or an opportunity, that experience actually is infectious, and the children become amazingly engaged. We also have an edible garden, which provides a harvest of fresh fruits and vegetables supported by our nursery gardener. So we have a nursery gardener who comes to tend some of our outdoor areas. And again, we spoke to him and said, look, you know, we've got a small allotment area. Would you like to have a look? And oh, yes, yes. So now he supports the children in terms of planting seeds, growing them, picking the food, and then they go on to cook. We also have a member of staff who at some point in her career, you know, sort of did an art degree. And so we have put her in a position as an atelierista. So she is our resident artist and does all sorts of artistic, creative activities with the children. And another member of staff who has been a chef in a former life. She actually does cookery school with the children. And then there's mindfulness, forest bathing with our yoga teacher. So it is all about, we feel, not just offering indoor, outdoor play experiences, opportunities, but it's about the enrichment that we can add to that our staff can add to that. And our staff are our most precious resource. And all of the students listening today, you know, you are the most precious resource in any setting, because the setting is only good as the staff who deliver the pedagogy, the curriculum, the activities and experiences.
I do feel that we are quite lucky in our situation of where we are. We are located very close to the local outward, so we use that a lot with our children, taking them out, being out and about in the fresh air, taking them for walks to the local parks, to the local, we've got Queen's Park that's got a museum, so we do use that as an opportunity for our children as well to get them involved in the community. As we speak at the moment, we have children that have gone down to help the local community plant some bulbs which is on a stretch where all of the local residents around here will be able to walk through and see all the bulbs that have popped up. Again, it's another opportunity for our children to go down, and then they can go and see them growing, and it's something that they've given back to the community as well. So it also teaches the children about kindness in the community.
And our ongoing commitment, obviously, I can't stress how much we value our staff, and our commitment to investing in resources and the physical environment, in order that our staff can create unique spaces, both indoors and outdoors, for the children to fully explore. And most recently, you know, sort of like we've repurposed a bright light and airy outdoor classroom space, where our children can relax and enjoy the free flow, in all sorts of weather conditions. We are always looking forward, and we listen to our staff, in terms of their ideas, their experiences, and we take staff's comments on board, and we look at how we can grow those ideas, how we can develop them, how it will enrich what we currently offer, how it will complement what we already offer. And I think it, you know, it's just the creating of the environment is absolutely key based on the staffing that we have. And looking after our staff is, you know, a real priority for us.
We do find that our staff get very excited about new opportunities, and if we're looking at changing their rooms, redecorating their rooms, etc., it's always getting the staff involved about what they know about the children, what they're enjoying, what they like best. And your classroom is your third teacher, so it's about making sure that everything that is out is something that the children can engage in. And it brings that spark and magic, awe and wonder for the staff to come in each day and be excited about what they're doing for the children, getting on board in new ideas that we can bring in, or things that they've found at the weekend. Could we go and get it? Because the children would love it. And it's all about what we can do for our children to give them the best experience before they go off to school.
Oh, Kyla, Jill, thank you so much. I was just reading your last bullet point about Forest Babies area, and thinking how wonderful that can be. And I'm sure it will be when you get there, with your current developments. But thank you so much for your time. It was extremely interesting to see how you operate in such a diverse way, really, to make sure that you do have all these enabling environments around for your staff as well as your children, which is brilliant. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am coming back to you all.
Remember, if you have any questions, please do put them in the chat box. We are all here, although you might not be able to see us.
And also the oh, I've forgotten now. I want to call them coochie catchers, but it's so Americanized. They are looking absolutely
Chatterboxes.
brilliant. Chatterboxes, thank you. They're looking absolutely brilliant. There is so many photographs in the chat. It's fabulous. So thank you for sharing those. Okay, so next I would like to introduce you to a lady called Amanda, and she's from a nursery school in Derbyshire. And Amanda is an early years teacher of 25 years and deputy head at Alfreton Nursery School. She leads in school for different aspects of early years provision, including mental health, metacognition, philosophy for children, computing, more able education. However, environmental education is Jill's passion, and it's woven itself into all aspects of her practice. Excuse me, my voice is disappearing. For some reason that won't work. Animal welfare and the protection and love for our planet provides the core for her educational purpose. Jill believes it's the responsibility of education to enhance children's understanding of the symbiotic relationship they share with every leaf and every insect, every second, every day. I'm sorry I called you Jill there, and it is Amanda.
I don't mind, I've been called a lot worse.
So sorry, Amanda, apologies.
Not a problem. Hi.
Okay, so I'd like to hand over. Thank you very much, Amanda.
Not a problem. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's great to be here. I am now going to attempt, let's have a look. I'm going to be very honest, I have absolutely no technological skill at all. So let's see how this goes, because it may go well and it may go badly. Let's have a look. Can anybody see that?
Yes, we
Going
can.
well, lovely.
It's all
My
good.
word, I'm very impressed.
Well done.
It's obviously a good day. Hooray! Right, okay, that's super. Thank you so much. Right, I'm going to whiz through this because unfortunately, I can talk for England and I can show pictures for England too. So I'm aware I'm on a 10-minute moment. So here we go. I'm in a school, Alfreton Nursery School in Derbyshire, and we just have a fantastic time. Our outdoors is a huge part of what we do. And over the years, we've made sure that our outdoors is very creative in terms of its approach. We have amazing forest school provision. We have 2 forests that we've grown ourselves on site, and we've been doing that for many years. But I think for us as well, we wanted to look at how outdoor environments could become so much more than forest schools and football, basically, which is of course what education and outdoors tends to look like. But for us, it now does look very different as well. So for us, again, we would always say that our outdoors isn't outdoors and our outdoors isn't indoors. That sort of makes it suggest as if they're not actually linked, that there's no interconnection. Well, obviously there is. So what we do indoors and what we do outdoors often mirror. That's not about picking the Lego tray up and taking it outside, but it's about making sure that there is a cohesive approach to whatever it is that you're teaching. And we have created a massive focus in school on environmental education, and that is taught indoors as well as outdoors. So we have an outdoor STEM hive. And the STEM hive is linked, as I said, to environmental education, and it is looking very clearly at those core science, technology, engineering and maths concepts, but it's looking at them through the lens of environmental sustainability. Within our STEM hive, we have education boards, so we've got links for community activities and little projects that can be done outside of the classroom, but also it's looking very much at how did nature get there first, basically. So nature taught us so much, and we can get lost in the complacency of thinking that people know it all, and actually we know very little. And actually it's by looking at nature that we get the answers to a great many of our problems. So we've got a lot of boards around the STEM hive that show children how nature actually taught us a lot of the lessons that help us to have our day-to-day lives. We have science investigation areas that are specifically dedicated, and we also have our P4C, Philosophy for Children areas, and we work heavily on the caring, collaborative, critical and creative thinking skills, which underpin all learning. We operate and use our STEM hive in all weather, so there's never an out of touch day, apart from obviously if it's severe wind and we would consider it to be a risk. But the children experience the STEM hive throughout the whole of the year, so getting a feel for that seasonal change. Teaching and learning spaces are specific in the hive, so we've got the continuous provision, but we also have those areas where we can have the teacher-led activities, which can then send the children on their way to follow their own agendas. But everything in the hive is either recycled, upcycled or donated. So we have a little music area, and we have got some beautiful little wooden sculptures, and the little polar bear there, her name is Greta Thunberg, clearly, and we come into the hive and we play music for her, and the children sing her nursery rhymes, and yeah, so we've got characters in the hive that we incorporate into everything that we do. We've had families who have had car park businesses and cars that have been in accidents, and they go in to the repair shop, as it were. Things that are heading towards landfill and to the scrapyard, they've been donated to us, and we've built our own role play areas where the children are in their cars. As I say, everything is either donated or heading towards landfill. So the point for us really is that within that role play, within all of these activities, we're looking at it with that environmental slant. So when the children are in the cars and they're heading off to wherever it is they're heading off to, we're actually having those conversations about pollution and climate change. Perseverance, so using those boards around and about, looking at actually how do the beavers build with the wood, how did the ants make the bridges. It's looking very much at how we do it, but how does nature do it too. And as you can see, we've just got lots and lots of lovely sensory experiences available. I am going to whiz because I know that I run out of time always. So yeah, even on a basic maths play, there's a ladybird, there's our spider. Let's do a little bit of sizing. We've got our weighing scales, we've got our tower building. Science investigation, getting your hands in there, doing your mini big hunts, all the things that you would expect to see, but again, that's being done very much through that environmental sustainability lens. So when we have our pumpkins at Halloween, the children bring their pumpkins in and we watch the decay process. We see what happens, we see how what influence do the insects and the weather have on our pumpkins. Looking through animal habitats and actually making our own habitats, but also then exploring where we wouldn't necessarily expect to find any animals and what animals can we find. And there's our decay process. So we talk about what happens on week 1, and then we would leave it, take a photograph week 2, take another photograph week 3, and we would actually watch that process. We would also share that with parents through the online journals so that parents can see that process too. And a lot of the children will repeat these little investigations at home in their gardens. Role play is a big part, and our Eco Eddie is made out of car parts. Eco Eddie is the guardian of our space, and he often brings with him a focus for conversation and for debate. So if we were going to be looking at deforestation in the STEM hive, he may have a bucket of sticks with him, which would be the key concept that we would grow our learning from that day. Interestingly, from our environmental learning point of view, we've got a lot of boys who love writing in this environment. These are tiles that were heading out of the NEC in Birmingham towards the skips at the back, because basically they were all samples that were being shown at a conference that day. So one of our parents rescued them, brought them in, and they're brilliant canvases for all of the lovely work that the children do. Yeah, so when we're looking at deforestation, for example, they're reenacting what they think may and may not be happening. And working hard together, collaborative learning. But there's always that time for that little one-to-one moment where we're examining something, we're looking in depth, and we're answering those questions for those children. We have a TARDIS which has been devoted to us, bless them. It was a family who lost a loved one during the pandemic, and they loved Doctor Who, so they dedicated this TARDIS to us. We put it up in our STEM hive, and we use it now for light and reflection work. So we've got our science running through in so many different ways. There's our little band. Recording and communicating. So as I said, children are recording in lots and lots of different ways, but actually using the recording process from a mark making point of view, it never ceases to amaze us how many boys get involved in that. And of course, we know that boys' writing is often a source of great concern. We do a lot of adult-led work, so it may be stories, it may be seed planting, a great many things, but often we will start with a philosophical concept, talking about ethics, and then we will get the children to explore that in more creative ways throughout the STEM hive. Lots and lots of child-led opportunities as well. And then we have our own food production area. So the children plant sweet corn, they plant potatoes, they plant onions and carrots and goodness knows what, all sorts of lovely vegetables, and then we donate that back into our community. So we have tables outside the STEM hive, and the parents can come and collect the fruit and vegetables that they might like to eat that night. And we also have a beautiful outdoor train track that, again, a loved one was lost, and they was donated to us, a beautiful track that used to be in somebody's garden, and a lovely gentleman who lives in our community came and erected it for us, which was absolutely wonderful. And it's a beautiful enhancement to our area. And again, from an environmental point of view, we look at transport, we look at travel, and we look at impact on ecosystems around the globe. I don't know if I'm in time, but let's hope so.
You've got 2 minutes, Amanda.
Oh, have I? That's fantastic. So, well, yeah, I couldn't have timed that better. That was definitely a whistle stop. So apologies if that went really, really quickly. But hopefully you managed to see a taste of what just one aspect of our outdoor environment looks like, because the STEM hive is a relatively new part of our provision, but it's become a massive part of it and enhances everything else that we've got beautifully. So yeah, it's great.
There's some fabulous comments in the chat box. Somebody is saying, I love all these communication friendly spaces, lovely outdoor area. It's so wonderful to see the photos. I have to say, I agree. It's fabulous to see the photos, and very enjoyable. So thank you very, very much for your time this afternoon.
Not a problem, thank you.
Oh, are you staying around for Q&A later on?
I'm going to do my best. I am due in another meeting. I'm going to see if I can postpone my attendance, but if I do have to leave, then apologies for that.
That's all right, not a problem at all. But I think there may be some questions for you. That was all.
You can always send them on to me if you need to. That's not a problem at all. I can get back to you.
Will do. Thank you very, very much.
No problem. I don't know how to not share. I'm so sorry. I did well getting in there, but I don't know how to stop now.
No problem. I'll take you off as a presenter, don't worry.
So much. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm just waiting for my PowerPoint to come back on. And then we can move on again. I hope you're all
really, truly
enjoying.
inspiring.
I thought it was wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Two amazing nurseries we've just seen, haven't we? Absolutely incredible.
Absolutely. So I'd like to welcome Karen Keast and some of her students from Truro College. And Karen worked for Cornwall Healthy Schools for a number of years, leading the team to support families in disadvantaged areas in Cornwall, working alongside Public Health England to launch the National Child Measurement Programme in Cornwall. She then joined the Health and Safety and Wellbeing team at Cornwall Council and managed 300 plus school health and wellbeing champions in primary, secondary and SEN schools with a focus on student and staff mental health. She's qualified health and safety officer, having conducted school audits and assessments across Cornwall. Karen has a master's degree in education and is also the DTL for the Education and Training Department, managing the T-level in education and childcare. FDA, childhood education and other early years provision at Truro. I'll leave Karen to introduce her students when she is ready, but I'll hand over to Karen now. Thank you.
Karen, can I just check before you start? Are your students with you, or are they in the? Do I need to give them
They
permission
are
to
with
share?
me,
They're
but
with
you're going to
you.
have to bear with us because we're going to have to share a headset because I don't have speakers. But we'll work that out
Okay.
when we get to that bit. We're quite creative down here.
Of course.
Absolutely fine.
Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for asking me to join you today. Hopefully, it's been really interesting so far to see how all the different sectors kind of work together. And what I've been asked to do very briefly today is talk about actually what kind of progression routes are available once a student has got their level 3 qualification, and also thinking about what we're doing currently with our level 3 and our T-level provision, because we're running the NCFE T-level in education and childcare, and it's growing from strength to strength, and it's thriving. So an opportunity to share kind of what we're finding and what the students, and they've joined me to share some of their experiences in placement. So again, I've now got to remember how to share my screen, this one, and I'm going to go there. Does that work?
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yes, brilliant.
What I thought I would very, very briefly do in terms of progression routes for those that come through our college here at Truro Penwith College is show you a little bit of an overview of the pathway that we are currently or about to run and launch as of this year. A lot of these courses we're already running, but we're actually bringing some courses back on board because we've seen some gaps in the local need and local market. So I'm not going to go into a massive depth because I've been asked to talk about the progression opportunities following a level 3, but I just wanted to give you an overview to see where everything kind of fits in. Everything that's green there is what we currently do with our 16 to 19-year-old students, and you can see the T-level spans there across the early years, primary and secondary areas. We're now in our 3rd year, and the numbers coming in for next year are really strong. So we've got a real balance between those currently wanting the early years occupational specialism or the assisting teaching specialism, but we're also hoping to extend that all the way through into the supporting and understanding mental health as well. Outside of that, we're also bringing back on the NCFE level 3 technical diploma in September, and the NCFE diploma in early years workforce, because we have found that the T level works for a lot of our students, but actually some of our students really do need a little bit of extra support and some time to develop their confidences and just make sure they're fully prepared for working into the sector. But one of the things I was asked to do this afternoon was talk about how do they move from that level 3 into other future qualifications possibly that's going to move them into the sector. So I've kind of just honed in here on what we do in terms of our higher education provision and how that fits into eventually going into the profession and into the sector. So at level 4 and 5, if they wanted to stay here with us at Truro, we offer 2 foundation degrees currently, which is the foundation degree in childhood education and the foundation degree in teaching and learning. Both of these sit across the early years and primary sector. Childhood education more focus on early years, and it's very much I offer that to students who know they want to work in the sector, know they want to work with children, but may not yet know if that's early years or if it's primary or if it is in a different area. So we give them the opportunity to explore that and find some work experience in different arenas to be hopefully make that decision. The FDA in teaching and learning is more around those that are already maybe working in the sector, might be a teaching assistant, high level teaching assistant, or somebody who has got a different role within a nursery or a setting and actually would like to now progress in terms of their academic journey. So the teaching and learning is designed for those who are probably working around 15, 16 hours a week, and we offer that then as a longer evening course, so they come in one day rather than a standard college timetable. That then is a foundation degree is 2 years, so they top that up with a top up in their 3rd year to get a full degree. So that here we can go straight into the BA education and training. But we've also got other avenues, so they could go into applied social science or any of the other arenas that could help them unpick how they see themselves working and supporting children and young people in their profession. If we have a student that is thinking about going into secondary, we support them at interview to really think about at secondary they need a degree specialism ideally, so we would recommend they do a specialist degree, but actually if they're not quite sure, then we can support them in that development through the offering that we've got. And then from there, in terms of their postgraduate level 6 and 7, to qualify and become a practitioner, if they haven't already got practitioner status, in early years and primary, we work alongside Cornwall SCIT to offer a PGCE SCIT programme in early years and Key Stage 1, or Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. And that also gives them QTS within that PGCE year. And we've also got QTS salaried routes. So that's where, if they're working in an apprenticeship and they're still kind of progressing at that level, we can come in and help them through and get their QTS status. Secondary, we do offer the SCIT program. So if they have got their specialist, we can do that. But we also do the 16 plus PGCE. So I also teach on that alongside a couple of my colleagues. And we find that students come from the sector want to come back in, and a lot of my T-level team have actually come back, done their PGCE to come back and teach the FE students kind of what they've learned from the sector, and that's ultimately what the experience we want them to get on a T-level. So in terms of what we offer for progression from a level 3, if they want to come back and increase their academic level, there are lots of options available to them. Obviously there's options around the country that would be very, very similar. All we do is have a little check-in on the local need. What have we got available? There are lots of different providers that can do very, very similar courses, but this is how we found the right structure in being able to get people from their level 3 either into employment or back in onto another course. So that's kind of the progression opportunities that we offer from level 3. But ultimately my main job, if you like, is supporting and managing the T level, and we've got some real good experiences around what the students are experiencing through that T level, what they're experiencing while they're out on work placement. And I'm going to try now and stop sharing my screen. It's that little button there, so you can come back to our faces and you can meet my lovely students. Have I stopped sharing? Yeah, that's me. Okay, so I'm going to take off my background now. Look, this is too complicated.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you, thank you. Right. So ignore the mess behind. But here we go. They're in my office. So I'm going to scooch. So you can scooch in this way, girls. I've asked a couple of our first years. Our second years are currently out on work experience. And they're doing a block week at the moment. So I've asked a couple of first years to come and join us because in terms of what they're seeing and what they're experiencing, the feedback that we're getting already is the value in working within settings and environments to help them see theory to practice and practice is theory. So we've done a lot of classroom teaching, and then they go out and practice, and actually these guys come back and go, oh, it all makes sense now, and I understand it now, and I can see it now. So I thought it'd be good to hear from them first, and then we can answer any questions. And I've got some other really good examples to share with you, but bear with us while we headset share. So who would like to go first? Right, so Layla's going to go first. So Layla, this is the world on the end. Pop it on and let them know the experiences that you've seen in the setting and the environments. What's been important for you?
I think it's really important that we're part of the team at the placement. They make us feel really welcome, and like we can always go to them for advice and stuff. Like if we need to ask them a question, or if we wanted to ask you a question but we're at placement that day, then they can answer the question for us. Yeah.
And have you seen some good experiences of how the environment has helped children learn and develop?
Yeah, they feel more confident to like speak up because their teachers are so like nurturing and nice that they know that they can get a question wrong and it'll be okay, and it doesn't matter that they got it wrong, and they know how to get it right next time.
And have you been supported in your setting?
Yeah, they're all really nice, and they will like answer any questions that you need to answer.
Yeah.
Like
and
that.
you're in a primary school?
Yeah.
What
in
age?
Year 1.
Year 1. And loving it?
Yeah.
Love it. Right, so do you want to hand the headset to him? You have to introduce yourself, though. Pop it on it.
I'm Amelia. Hi.
What kind of setting are you in?
I'm in a primary school in year 2.
Okay, so what kind of experiences have you seen that have helped you?
So I've seen like warm and welcoming faces, and everyone's really like inclusive. So if you get anything wrong or anything like that, like students, teachers, me, myself, everyone's just there to help. and they're quite like working with parents. They're quite close now with the parents, so when they come they pick up from every classroom. So you have like individual time to talk to the teachers and everything like that. I've been introduced to lots of the parents, so I'd be able to speak to them and everything. So it's very good. Yeah, so being in Falmouth, I see lots of the kids anyway outside of school. So it's nice because the parents say hello to me. I've actually had a conversation with a little girl's parents outside of school, and they've just like spoke to me how happy they are to see a student my age doing a course like this. I think it's very good and nice.
Do you see an impact for the child that the communication between you and the parents is working?
Yeah, I think it gives them a confidence around me because they know their parents have also met me, so they know their parents are happy with me, not just them. It gives them a new confidence around me, and like they feel more comfortable.
Amazing. Right, let's check. I will say a few things, and then if there's any questions, I can ask for them. Just to add to what the girls were saying, if you couldn't hear me, I do apologise. But just to add to that, there was a few things that has come up. These girls and a lot of the first years are saying the massive positive impact of settings that have welcomed and included the students within their planning and within their setting has made a massive impact for them and their confidence working with the children. And a really good example that literally I had in my inbox this morning, where a family member has said about how important these T-level students are, and was a parent of a child with special educational needs, and she sent me an email to say that since receiving support from one of our students, her child enjoys school more, enjoys the activities that they're doing, and actually keeps focus a lot better during the day. So the parent has reached out to me to say, please thank the student and keep doing what you're doing on T-levels because it's making a massive impact in the sector. So next cohort, next generation of practitioners, I'm privileged to work with them. So that's me, because I know I've probably overrun, because I do overrun quite a lot because I like that. So I'm going to hang around as well. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions at the end or in the chat. So
thank you very much. It's really nice to hear from you and your students, and it's really heartening to hear that they are so welcomed into setting. That's really great stuff. Thank you very, very much. Lovely. If you can hang about, that would be great. Thank you. So back to my my PowerPoint, which seems to take forever to load back into Teams, I'm afraid.
Judith, Emma, are you both, have I got you both with the right permissions? There's no one else, is there, joining you too?
No, I think we're fine, thank you.
Brilliant. We can see you, we can hear you, so that's a good start.
Thank you. So I'm not, hello everyone, thank you so much for inviting us to share. It's been fascinating listening to everybody so far, and hopefully what we're doing is going to really speak to you in the same way, with the same depth and excitement, and get everybody else committed to something that is very, very exciting for us, and has really, at my age, given me quite a new lease of life. What I would like to do is I shall try to share. I'm not used to Teams, and you can tell me if I have it right. And let's see, share screen. That doesn't look right.
We can't see your screen yet, Judith.
No. So that's because the thing I want to show doesn't seem to be there. Now, let's see if I'm showing the wrong thing. I'm showing the wrong thing. No, here it is. Yes, maybe it opens here. Right, can you see? Can you see that?
Yes, we can. It's not open yet, Judith. We haven't.
So it just says here, stop sharing. So it's open on my screen. So let's stop and come back again. So
Sometimes you need to do that. I'm sure it'll be
is
fine.
it open now? Is it open now?
No, not yet.
No. Would you like me to share for you, Judith, and you can just tell me next slide,
yes,
please?
I might have to do that because we
Not
did
a
send it to you
problem.
just in case. Okay.
You absolutely
Lovely.
did. it doesn't want to share this side either.
There it is.
Got
It's
it.
there.
Here we are.
Right. So you do have it. Let me just see if I can. One moment. There they
Wonders
are.
of technology. It's
Yes,
there.
I know. Anyway, as you can see, well, what we want to speak about is intergenerational care, seeing the work with the child's eye. And hopefully this will be something that will speak to you in the same way as it speaks to us. So if we move on to the second slide, you can see that there's only a 9-year age difference. But what's 90 years between friends? This was said to me by Faye here. Can you see the bond? And you see the eye contact? Faye never had children. She was one of that generation who was growing up during the war, the Second World War, when she would have been looking for a life partner, and so many people were killed. So she's like so many people at Nightingale House, where our co-located intergenerational nursery is situated. She never had children. She doesn't have the extended family. And watching her bottle feed a baby for the first time, seeing her watch children grow up and that development of going from babes in arms to toddlers, and hearing her wisdom, hearing what she has to say as an observer looking at this, has been a fantastic thing for us. And for young Sasha there, who is fascinated, as you can see. So if we can, and this is, she's actually seeing the child during those crucial developmental years. It's a marvelous opportunity both for our grandfriends and for the children to experience and be with people who are reaching the end or the last days of their life. The last, not days, sorry, the last years, I should say. Can we move to the next slide, please? So what we want to do is, hopefully within the time, just give you a little bit of content, the reason for intergenerational care, a bit about Apples and Honey Nightingale Nursery, the principles of intergenerational practice, planning for the needs of the children and the elderly, our grandfriends, the benefits for children, and our new intergenerational qualification. And whether there'll be time for questions, obviously I know you have got questions coming at the end, so that should be fine too. So if you could move on to the next slide, please. So I never had grandparents. I always say I married into a grandparent. I gained grandparents when I got married. And I realized then what I had been missing, that I'd never had the experience of being with older people. It took me a long time to be comfortable with them. And actually, this has been quite a driving force for me to get these intergenerational relationships to flourish, to try and support these intergenerational programs. I opened a small nursery, a Jewish faith-based nursery in South London, when there was no Jewish faith-based nurseries at the time, in 1991. And because I believe that actually education for children should be holistic, that they should be experiencing people across the generations and having full life experiences, we started to visit the only Jewish care home in South London, which was Nightingale House. And initially, like so many of these relationships, it was just more performance-based. You know, you'd go at Hanukkah, which is the Jewish festival around Christmas, and at other odd occasions, but it wasn't so much relationship building. It wasn't enough. Gradually, we started to increase our program and we watched what was happening with the relationships with the children. And we saw their confidence, the way their speech was developing, how comfortable they were. And also we saw the responses of our grandfriends, many of whom did not have, as I said, extended family. Some were very lonely and some didn't. And some of them were actually adopted by the families. At the time that we were going, things were much more relaxed. You were able to give lifts in teachers' cars and parents would come with us. And we saw that some of our grandfriends were actually adopted by some of the families, and some of the families were adopted by the grandfriends. And they used to meet even outside of nursery hours. And one day I just thought, why are we going away when this home is in such beautiful grounds? Because it was opened in 1906, so it's a long time ago. At the time, I imagine it was actually countryside. Why can't we actually have these interactions and these relationships every single day? And I approached the home, and they agreed. And so, can you move to the next slide, please? Thank you. I spoke to one of the parents at the baby and toddler group that we were running, and I asked her if she would help me. And Dr. Ali Summers had complementary skills to me. She was an academic, she'd managed projects before, and we opened Apples and Honey Nightingale in September 2017 in the grounds of Nightingale Care Home. It was the first nursery to embed daily intergenerational activities within its curriculum, and it has become a global exemplar of this practice. And we speak about it a lot internationally, as well as supporting other such projects here in England and in Scotland, Ireland, across the UK. We have a specially adapted building. It used to be the maintenance department of the home, and they were relocated, and we were given this beautiful small building that we have adapted. It has a safe garden with railings that our grandfriends can see through, but they can come in through the gates anyway. And we have inside, we have benches that they can actually sit in and take part, pre-COVID and post-COVID, in a very lovely play area, which is in their gardens. There's a set timetable of activities that are planned each week, including singing, reading, craft sessions, so many different types, but there are also spontaneous engagements that enrich each day. When you're wandering around the grounds, you can bump into people. If you've got something to share, you can actually go into the home and share it with one of your grandfriends. And these sessions usually happen within the care home because it's much more spacious. In a care home, the home is built so that you can move wheelchairs around. The nursery is actually quite cramped. It looked spacious until we put the children and the resources in, but we still have an open door policy, and there's wheelchair access, and our grandfriends can visit us. On the way in, we would like the children will sing, so that those grandfriends who actually are not able to leave their rooms, can't participate, can actually hear that they have children around them, they have community around them, they're not isolated, they haven't been put away into a care home and forgotten. Activities take place in the gardens of the care home with scavenger hunts, there's gardening, sports days, and outings, and so much more. And in fact, I was slightly late to the conference today because we were just setting up a storytelling, intergenerational storytelling with an acting company, which has been sponsored by one of our local families. Everything that we do is carefully planned so that it is of equal benefit to develop the children's skills and learning, and to maintain the grandfriends' independence and their quality of life. Whilst we're developing the children's skills and their aptitudes and their curiosity, we're at the same time maintaining the skills and the independence because of our grandfriends, because we have the same objective or a similar objective, and we can use the same means, the same tools. So can we move on to the next slide, please? So what is intergenerational practice? The definition that is commonly used was created in 2001 by the Beth Johnson Foundation. Intergenerational practice aims to bring people together in purposeful, mutually beneficial activities which promote greater understanding and respect between generations and contribute to building more cohesive communities. Intergenerational practice is inclusive, building on the positive resources that the young and old have to offer each other and those around them. If you move on to the next slide, please. There are 3 basic principles which we've taken from the Generations Working Together, which is a Scottish charity that works towards intergenerational work. Principle 1 is that it should be purposeful, mutual, and reciprocal. All participating generations should gain benefit. Principle 2, it promotes greater understanding and respect between generations. And principle number 3, it contributes to building more cohesive community ties. And if you look at the next slide, I hope that you can see all those principles, those 3 principles, shown in this one slide, which speaks so much to me. Principle 1, that it should be purposeful, mutual, and reciprocal. I would say that everybody in this picture is getting as much out of the activity as each other. Just looking at the faces and looking at togetherness. All participating generations should benefit. They benefit from a shared activity. They are both gaining experience from this, and it is mutually beneficial. Principle 2, it promotes greater understanding and respect between the generations. It's relationship-based. You can see the relationships. Those children are so comfortable with Margie, and she loves it. Actually, she said to me, "It's so messy. I haven't had so much fun in years." And it contributes to building more cohesive community ties. Again, relationships, that was principle 3. I do love that picture. And one of the lovely things about this is that picture lives, through that picture, Margie is living on. She's remembered by the children that she met and that she worked with, played with, learned with, and laughed with. And can we move on to the next slide, please? And I talked about it being equally beneficial. So if you look here, I don't need to go through the early years foundation stage. You all know what that is. But all these are what we're obviously working through. Everything that we do has to be appropriate and tick the boxes, as it were, for our children. But looking at Nightingale, what they want is so equally balanced. It's not statutory in the same way. Care homes don't actually have the same statutory guidance. They have to keep their residents safe, they have to keep them secure, clean, as mobile, as independent as they can, try to give them some stimulation, but it's not statutory in the same way when they're inspected. You can see that the care home, which is outstanding, is looking for the physical stimulation for the residents, for the cognitive stimulation, their sensory stimulation, keeping them independent, keeping them purposeful, and giving them a reason to enjoy life. It's to combat loneliness and isolation. It gives value and respect and dignity. It's person and relationship-centered care. It gives community. There is nothing there that is not an equal objective. There's nothing there that is going to be a problem. It can all be for the good. And if we look at the next slide, you can see there's another example. Here we have some buddied reading. Now, objective observations are very useful for us. Somebody coming from the outside. Elizabeth here had never been a teacher before, but now she has a new purpose in life. She never expected in her 90s to take on a new profession. She said, "I feel I've done something useful after spending time with the children." And for the children, this little girl, she is a daughter of the care staff. Having 20% of our places reserved for the children of the care staff, highly subsidized, helps them with retention, helps them to actually, I know I need to speed up, sorry, it helps them with their retention and their recruitment. And also, this little girl comes from a single parent family, and her mother was missing the extended family that she grew up with, that isn't in England. Here, they are all part of that extended family that she missed, and she's getting, this little girl, so much more attention than she would have otherwise. The elderly are not experts on reading, but they enjoy spending time with the children, and they're learning here. These books, it doesn't have words, but prediction, talking about what they're going to do, an opportunity to be listened to by people who've actually got time to listen, and the relationships are non-judgmental. Anyway, I know I have to speed, so I'll just quickly read through the benefits. There are many more than this. It encourages communication and social skills in the children, develops language and reading through shared activities, increases confidence and self-esteem. I've actually known, we've had reports from our children who've gone on to primary school, even post-COVID, how much more learning ready they are, how much more curious, how much more they are comfortable in their own skill, and how much more resilient than many of the children who are coming from schools that haven't had these intergenerational experiences. It helps develop empathy, care, and kindness, improves understanding of disability, it helps them to learn and develop respect, and they learn about the lives of the elderly, which can reduce ageism. And I found they give them a sense of belonging and security, and an awareness that they are part of a link in the chain of life, and that they have a purpose, that they are meant to be here. It helps them to understand the cycle of life and death in a very natural way. They don't have fear of dying that so many children who are overly protected. I'm not going to, I will rush through because actually we're running out of time, and I want to move on to the next slide, if that's okay. Can we go to the benefits for children? Just a quick example of children being interviewing David. During COVID, as you can see, we had doors separated us, but we did manage to keep the program going throughout, always socially distanced, always safe, and always with permission from the home and from the local health authority. We had to get approval. So the children are interviewing David, who's there with his daughter. Sadie, do you like strawberries? Or is that what's on your jumper? No, they are ballerina. David, you can't eat ballerinas. What is your favorite thing to eat? Strawberries. Do you like ice cream with your strawberries? Yes, I love ice cream. Strawberry ice cream. Do you like trains and tracks? I have an electric one at my home. I love trains and tracks. And Lynn, his daughter, told the children that they had a electric at home and explained how it works. What did you used to do for a job? Lynn helped David to remember that he used to be an optician and explained to the children that he was an eye doctor who looked after people's eyes. Archie, what was your favourite toy when you were a little boy? Oh, cars, big red cars, big red Audi cars. Woo, woo! David, they're holding a discussion with the children, and they could only do this through the, as I said, through the patio doors. But what you have here is reversed, sustained, shared thinking. The children are leading the discussion, and it is supporting David with his thinking. With continued discussion and over weeks, these types of discussion really support and extends the children's ability to lead their own discussions with the grandfriends. And of course, afterwards, we had the grandfriends interviewing the children. And for Lynn to know that she hadn't put her father away, isolated him, actually put him away into a home, that expression. She knew that she had given him the opportunity for more interactions, more stimulation, more life than he would otherwise have had he been stuck at home. And I want to hand over briefly to Emma. Apologies for going on so long, but I'm sorry, I'm a bit passionate about it. And I hope that if you do have any questions, we'll be very, very happy for you to contact us to know more.
Hello, I'm Emma, and following on from what Judith has been saying, we're so passionate about the intergenerational care and what happens at Apples and Honey Nightingale that we've created a qualification which we can offer to people who are interested in intergenerational practice. It's a qualification that is an nested qualification that has an award a certificate and a diploma. And if you are interested, do get in touch. I appreciate that we've gone over time, so I won't go on any further.
Thank you so much, Judith. And Emma, it's been fabulous. I'm sure that everyone who's taking part today has thoroughly enjoyed your presentation. It's so interesting to hear about. And yeah, we will be in touch, because Angie and I have been sitting down deciding that we need to pull together some information to help guide learners if they are interested in working within in that kind of setting. So we will be in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'm going to introduce you next to Jo Morton Brown. Jo, thank you so much for your patience.
Hello.
Jo combines her academic knowledge with first-hand experience of working with children and young people. Excuse me. And their families. I'm trying to do this, and I shouldn't be doing it that way. The chance to gain targeted training in mental health. She travels across England delivering training, but a majority of her work is in Essex and London, delivering the fantastic half 1 or 2 day youth mental health first aid courses. But she also works directly with children and young adults by delivering school assemblies and workshops. And Jo was a speaker at one of our cash conferences a few years ago. I can't remember how many, but obviously it was before COVID. And we all very much enjoyed hearing her speak. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to get her back. So Jo, thank you. Over to you.
Thank you. Can you hear me all right, Serena? Is that all right?
You're a little quiet.
You can hear me. Perfect. Hello there, everybody, and thanks for inviting me. I would like us to talk about the importance of connection and relationship. I'm going to kind of keep it very, very open and broad, so then you can think about it as working with younger ones. You can think about the importance with those people that are on your course and everything like that. So I'm just keeping it quite varied. And I just wanted to highlight the importance of it, because connection and relationship is something that we can't take for granted. And what I particularly loved is when Judith and Emma were talking about their project, is that it's just connection and relationship is ages regardless. Age does not matter. And I think that's one of the most important things that we have to bear in mind, is that it is that sense of connection. And people think, why are relationships so important? But it's that sense of belonging, and that's what we're looking for. We're human beings, okay? And it goes back to our caveman days, knowing that we have more chance of surviving if we were to become part of a tribe, if we were to create this family, if we were to become part of this family. And with that, it's just about how friendships are really important, but it's about hanging around and holding on to those right friendships, those healthy friendships. And with that, I think it's about learning as we grow older, from the little ones, it's about having a certain level of empathy and compassion. But again, that's through having that connection. It's through having those experiences that, as young as they may be, that they're growing up and they're having that ability to actually have that compassion, to think about how it might be for somebody else. And that sounds silly, that, that wouldn't possibly affect little ones, but it does. This is, like I said, age is just so universal with that. But also, it helps by having meaningful connections and having positive relationships. It also helps us develop a sense of self. And that is something that is so important, that we mustn't underestimate the importance of having that sense of self. And obviously, as we grow older, that becomes something that we can identify more and more with. But also, having a sense of connection and relationship allows us to make the world a little safer. It allows us to feel safer in this world. And I think that what we have to bear in mind is that sense of security and that sense of safety. You can't buy that. You can't automatically allow a child to just instantly feel it. It's something that is over time that we all deserve, but it's just something that is so, that nature nurture, but it's just something that that we deserve and that they deserve to have that sense of having a safe world that they're able to grow up in, that they're able to make mistakes in, and that they're able to build on that resilience. And I know that I'm short of time because I don't want you guys to run out of time either. And
Oh, Jo, I'm really sorry. You're very, very quiet, and yeah, people are having a bit of trouble hearing you. Can you come up a little bit?
No, this is the education sector. This is working in education with computers like this. The only thing I can think of is coming off of the computer and doing it on my phone and doing it in the space of a couple of minutes. But equally, I'm well aware of the time.
You're all right with time now. You are our last official speaker, but it may be better.
I tell you what I'll do. I will quickly hop on via my phone and shorten it down really quickly for everybody. Is that all right?
That's fine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of minutes so you can do some spiel.
Thank you. So I think it's probably best that Jo tries a different way, because I know that a few people are having problems hearing her. We're hopefully not going to go too far over time. It may only be sort of 2 or 3 minutes. So I hope that you can hold on for us until Jo comes back in, and then we can finish off. Janet is going to do just a very quick summary, and then we'll do a close afterwards, and we'll put our contact details up for you so that you, if you've got any questions and you want any information from us, you know who to contact. So I think hopefully we can get Jo back very shortly and carry on.
Just while we're waiting for Jo, and I'll stop if Jo comes on, absolutely. But I can just bring in oh, she's here, she's waiting in the lobby.
I'm admitting.
You can carry on for a second, Janet, because I've got to give her new permission, so hang on.
Okay, it was just to say, because I don't want Jo to have to rush, because what she's got to say will be absolutely phenomenal. So what I just wanted to say is that what we've heard today, we talk about a theoretical framework. We've got those four guiding principles of the YFS. We've got the characteristics of effective teaching and learning, and the 7 effective features also of development matters. But what really has come across today, we started by looking at little acts of kindness with those little chatterboxes and the fortune tellers. And then we've seen how those little acts of kindness have been built into every single thing that we do. The students talking about the difference of a nurturing environment, looking at sustainability in our early years settings and seeing the examples and being kind to others and looking after nature and being at one with that and being kind. These are the things that we need to remember, because above all, tuning into young children and tuning into what they do is what you do as professionals in the best and only way that you can. So let's just put that theory into a box for a minute. I know you've got to use all that theory. I know you've got to be aware of it. But the one thing that really matters is you and how you make those children feel. So whenever you're feeling that someone needs a little bit of kindness, they'll come to you. Thank you. Thanks, Jo.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, all clear. Good.
Oh, guys, I'm so sorry about that. I was just jabbering on and I didn't even think about sound. You have to excuse me. I'm at school, so I could never have got home in time. So I'm making the best out of a bad situation, but I'm here. I just wanted to explain the importance of connection and relationships. And I'm really sorry if you've heard some of this and if some of you didn't, but listening to Judith and Emma speak, it just shows you that from their story, the age is irrelevant, and that sense of having an ability to create a safe world is through those connections, through meaningful connections, and through having those relationships. And children are born into this world with that need for love and affection. And it's most important that we can recognise as professionals, as well as our students, the importance of how important that is. With having that ability to really connect with somebody is all through having a sense of belonging. And it's known that children who are looked after children, LAC, that sometimes their journeys end up in the criminal justice system because they're looking for that sense of belonging that they can't find. And it just goes to show how important that we have to make sure that those connections are the right connections, those friendships are the right healthy friendships with those with trying to find that sense of belonging. Because sometimes with having a sense of belonging, with having a sense of feeling safe in the world, having that ability to embrace our true selves will actually allow us to find a sense of self where we can find about our true selves. And as we get older, I don't know if we're giving them the opportunity, or we just make the best out of becoming more of our true authentic self. And I know that sometimes it's easier said than done. However, the most important thing with children, and I work with 4-year-olds all the way up to 19-year-olds, is about showing them that we're able to listen to the little things. And with that, that could be parents, carers, family members, it could be people, you know, that doing the course. But it's about showing these children that we're able to listen to the little things. Because if we can show them that we can listen to the little things, then we know that there's more chance that they'll come to us with anything that may be bigger or more worrying or troubling them even. And with that, with connection and with that, those healthy relationships, is it also builds on one of the biggest things, which is compassion and empathy. And with that, and having that ability to feel safe and to feel that sense of belonging, will build upon that empathy, will build upon having that compassion. And that is what we're looking for our early years, for our students, you know, all the way across all age groups, to be able to really tap into that. Because I know that some children find it harder than others. I know my little boy, he's 9, and if somebody was to fall over, I don't think he'd have it in his heart to have the guts to go up to somebody at school to say, "Oh, are you okay?" He might be thinking it. We did it once. We were in town with his friend, and he said, "Well, I thought it in my head," and he did. I'm certain of it. But it's just about building on their sense of self, building on that natural ability to have that compassion and that empathy, and to really be able to connect. And it's based around that whole nurture. It's based around that whole nature, I suppose, of what a child is entitled to. And it's incredible to see, because you have all different age groups and there's all different types of meaningful relationships and connections. So yeah, that's all I wanted to really share with you, really condensed down, because I know it's the end of the day for you guys. And it's been a fantastic conference. I've been at work and then I've listened to it parts as well. So ta-da!
Thank you so much, Jo. Thank you for
Welcome.
coming and joining us. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. And I'm glad that you enjoyed the other parts as well that you were able to catch, which is good. So I'm just going to pop back into the PowerPoint, because I want to make sure that everyone's got everyone's contact details for the end of the session. Mostly we'd like to thank you all for attending. And I've certainly enjoyed it. I think it's been our speakers have been wonderful, and it's been a real pleasure. And sometimes I think perhaps we should extend our timings a little bit, just to allow for those that are so passionate and want to get so much out, and we don't often give them enough time, unfortunately. Oh, thank you. So when the PowerPoint comes on, it will come up and be able to give you our contact details, and we will also be sharing the presentation with everyone who is registered today. So yes, and please don't forget to join us for our next conference in June, 7th of June, which is on SEND. And again, we have a real lineup of we have a real lineup of good guest speakers again. So it will be brilliant to come along for that one. And then here we are. This is us. We're all here to help. If you've got any queries, then please do drop us all an email. The emails are all the same. So it's our first name, last name at ncfe.org.uk. So thank you very, very much for coming. We hope you've enjoyed yourselves, and look forward to seeing you in June.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much for coming.